So in the previous lectures, we have discussed about interference and diffraction. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about polarization concepts. So in this lecture, I am going to discuss about what is polarization, how many types of polarizations are there, and how can we produce polarized light. And then we will end this session with the polarizers available for producing polarized light from an unpolarized light. So, interference and diffraction phenomena prove that light has wave motion, but it doesn't talk about any characteristics of the waves. That means how does the light wave propagate? So, as in the case of a transverse wave or as longitudinal wave. That means how the particles present in the wave are going to vibrate. So with respect to the direction of the propagation of the wave will not be explained by the concepts called interference and diffraction. So whereas polarization gives us the answer of how does the wave behave. But interference and diffraction help us to determine the wavelengths that we have discussed previously with the help of magnetic spectrum concepts. So now we will see how what is the nature of the light and how polarization is able to explain the concept. So Maxwell was a scientist who developed electromagnetic theory, and he suggested that light is an electromagnetic wave. So what is an electromagnetic wave? Electromagnetic wave is nothing but, so it is a wave which has electric and magnetic fields perpendicular to each other. And he also proved that, so since light wave is an electromagnetic wave, so they are also transverse waves, because all electromagnetic waves are transverse waves. So he concluded that light wave is nothing but electromagnetic wave, and it has a transverse nature. So transverse waves are nothing but the waves in which the particles of the medium oscillate perpendicular to the direction of the propagation of the wave. That means if the wave is propagating along the x direction, so then the particles vibrate perpendicular to the x axis. So this kind of waves are nothing but transverse waves. So polarization can take place only in transverse waves. So that is why polarization is able to describe the wave nature and its characteristic, like it travels in the form of transverse waves. So here unpolarized light consists of electric and magnetic field vibrations in numerous planes. That means when you observe light which is emerging from the torch light or any other sources like tube light, okay, so we can see it has a broad view. That means its width is very much more. So it is divergent view, okay, so it will not have any particular direction, okay. So here the electric and magnetic vibrations mm, vibra- uh, vibrations in numerous planes, and we could not describe the direction in particular plane. So that is the problem of unpolarized light. That means it has vibrations in many planes. So it will not confine to single XY plane. So here the process of bringing such kind of unpolarized light into polarized light, which will vibrate only in particular plane, so is nothing but polarization. So a light wave that is vibrating in more than one plane is known as unpolarized light. So it is brought to a single plane with the help of optical devices are known as polarizers. Polarizers. So this is nothing but the transformation of unpolarized light into polarized light is nothing but polarization. So we have unpolarized lights that are emitted by the sun, lamp or tube light, torch light, etc. So polarized waves are light waves in which the vibrations occur only in single plane, only in two dimensions. So that is x and y. So plane polarized light consists of waves in which the direction of vibrations are same for all waves. Okay, that is the difference between unpolarized light and polarized light. So here a plain polarized light vibrates only in one plane. So it has vibrations only in one plane. So if you look at this process, this is the light beam that is generated by the torch, so which consists of electric and magnetic fields perpendicular to each other. So these have many vibrations in all directions. So whereas when it is applied to the optical instrument called polarizer, so we could see a proper electric field coming out of the polarizer that is only in one plane. So this kind of light is nothing but polarized light. So for example, polarized light is nothing but laser. It has a definite certain direction. So next, coming to the types of polarization, we have three different types of polarization. Those are nothing but linear, circular and elliptical polarization. So this depends upon the orientation, direction of electric field which is involved in the polarization. So coming to the linear polarization, so in the linear polarization, electric field will have only single component and it will travel along single plane with respect to the direction of propagation. See, if you observe this figure, here we have only single wave of light. So that is traveling from X to, that is traveling in the XY plane in single direction. So this kind of polarized light is nothing but linearly polarized light. Next, coming to the circularly polarized light. So in circular polarization, we have two linear components for electric field, and these have 90° or pi by 2 phase difference between those two. So phase difference is nothing but time delay between these two waves. So here we have green and blue waves. So two linear components, two linear electric field components, so which have 90° phase difference between them. So when we calculate the resultant of these two waves, so we will observe that these are traversing circle. So that is why this polarization is known as circular polarization. So here, based on how these waves are traveling from either left to right or right to left, we have left hand or right hand circularly polarized lights. Similarly, next we have elliptical polarization. So here also we have two components for electric field. Two linear components are available for electric field. So the resultant waveform will traverse in the form of ellipse. So it traces the path of ellipse. So why? Because here the phase difference is not consistent like circular polarization. So in elliptical polarization, we have uh, phase difference between two linear components of electric field that is other than 90° or pi by 2. So it is not consistent, it is not constant. So the phase difference will vary with respect to one wave to another. So this kind of polarization is nothing but electrical polarization, similar to the uh, direction of propagation. That means either from left to right or right to left. We have left-handed and right-handed elliptical polarization. Next, coming to the different procedures using which we can produce the polarized light. So we are able to produce polarized light with the help of a process called reflection, refraction, double refraction, scattering, absorption, etc. So now we are going to discuss how polarization can be obtained by using the process called reflection. And then we will discuss how the polarization is obtained with the help of double refraction process. So what is reflection? So reflection is nothing but whenever an incident wave is, uh, whenever a light wave is incident on particular transparent object, so it comes back into the same media. That process is nothing but reflection. So whenever it strikes the surface, it comes back into the same media. So here this concept is used for producing polarization as well. So when an unpolarized light beam is reflected from a surface, the reflected beam will become partially polarized depending upon the angle of incidence. So whenever we are going to change the angle of incidence is nothing but the angle present between the normal and incident light ray. Okay, so whenever we are going to change the angle of incidence, at particular angle of incidence, we will get the angle between reflected and refracted rays, that is nothing but 90 degree. So if you observe the following figure, so this is the transparent material glass on which we are going to incident a light ray AB. It strikes the surface at the point of incidence on the glass surface. So where the normal N has been drawn. So here theta P is nothing but the angle between incident ray and the normal, so which is known as angle of incidence. Whenever we are going to vary this angle of incidence, so the reflected ray will become completely polarized. This is completely plane polarized, and inside we have another light ray which is bent and traveled inside the glass material. It is nothing but refracted light ray. So here a particular angle of incidence, that angle of incidence is known as Brewster angle. So at this angle we will observe that ray BD will have the angle difference of 90 degrees. So the angle between these two will be 90 degrees. So this kind of process is known as Brewster's law. So Brewster was the scientist who studied about this polarization by reflection, and he concluded that the refractive index of that medium will be tangent value of angle of incidence. That is nothing but theta p. So mu equal to tan theta p. So this is nothing but the Brewster's law. So next we will discuss the polarization by double refraction. So this is double refraction is a special phenomena which takes place in certain kinds of crystals. So which have unicoaxial optic axis. Okay. So such kind of one of the examples of such kind of crystals is nothing but calcite crystal. So when light is incident on a calcite crystal, it is going to split into two different refracted rays. So one ray obeys completely the laws of refraction, and it is bent at the point of incidence, and the other ray doesn't obey the laws of refraction. It will travel straightly through the calcite crystal. So if you look at this diagram, so this is the calcite crystal. So where unpolarized light, which has numerous vibrations in all directions, is going to be incident at the point of incidence. At the one of the opposite phases of the calcite crystal. So at the point of incidence, this light is going to split into two different rays. So one ray is known as O ray, that is ordinary ray. Another one is known as E ray, that is nothing but extraordinary ray. So this ordinary ray obeys all the laws of refraction and it follows the Snell's law. So here, since it obeys, it has the velocity same in all directions. It will travel with uniform velocity inside the calcite crystal, and it has refractive index that is greater than extraordinary ray. So since it is bent, it is completely absorbed by the calcite crystal. It will not come out through the calcite crystal. So it completely blocks the O ray, whereas extraordinary ray so doesn't obey any laws of refraction. It will travel in the form of straight line, and it comes out of the crystal as linearly as plane polarized light, which has only vibrations in single plane. So here this E ray will have different velocities in different directions, and its velocity is not uniform inside the calcite crystal. So these are the main differences between extraordinary ray and ordinary ray. So here this crystal is going to block completely ordinary ray and is going to give only plane polarized extraordinary ray. So that means we are going to obtain polarized waveform with the help of this optical device called calcite crystal. So this splitting of light ray into two different refracted rays is nothing but the concept of double refraction. So this concept is used in Nichols prism, which is a popular optical polarizer. Okay, Nichols prism is made from calcite crystal. It was designed by the scientist known as William Nichols in 1820. So it is mostly used polarizing device, and it is very good polarizer as well as analyzer. The only thing is it is costly. Okay, a calcite crystal is made, that means Nichols prism is made from the calcite crystal by taking the calcite crystal whose length is 3 times the width, and the end faces of the crystals are being grounded so in such a way that they have an angles in the principal section. Principal section means it consists of optical axis and the extraordinary ray. Okay, so in the principal section it will have the angles 68 degree and 112 degree. So this crystal is being cut into two pieces by a plane perpendicular to the principal section as well as to the new end faces. So you can see the construction of Nichols prism here. So this is the Nichols prism which is designed with the help of calcite crystal. So these two end faces are cemented. Okay, and then here the bar represents the Canada balsam layer. So here we are going to cut the two end faces, and those are again joined with the help of Canada balsam layer. So this Canada balsam layer will have the refractive index in between the refractive indices of extraordinary ray and ordinary ray. So the Canada balsam layer will have the refractive index in the range of 1.55, whereas the refractive index of ordinary ray is 1.66 and the refractive index of extraordinary ray is 1.486. That means this Canada balsam layer is going to act like a denser medium for extraordinary ray and rarer medium to the ordinary ray. So whenever unpolarized light is incident at the point of incidence, that is perpendicular to the principal section. So here it is going to split into two rays, that is O ray and E ray. So since O ray is ordinary, so it is going to follow all the laws of refraction, and whenever it strikes the Canada balsam layer, so it is going to be completely absorbed by it. So whereas extraordinary ray will pass through the Canada balsam layer and comes out of the crystal in terms of linearly polarized wave. So this is how the construction of Nichols prism will be. So next let us see how this Nichols prism will act as polarizer. So just now we have seen how it is going to act as polarizer, and now we will see how it will act as analyzer. So polarizer is a device which transforms unpolarized light into polarized light. So whenever natural light is incident on the polarizer, so only the vibrations which are parallel to the transmission axis is allowed to pass through them. So the other vibrations, okay, which are perpendicular to the direction of the transmission axis will be blocked completely. So whereas analyzer is a device which is used to find whether the light is polarized or unpolarized. If it is polarized, whether it is linearly polarized or circularly polarized or elliptically polarized, is going to be analyzed with the help of analyzer. So here, this is the concept where the Nichols prism is going to work like polarizer as well as analyzer. So for that we need to arrange two Nichols prisms side by side, so such that one acts like polarizer, so which is going to transform unpolarized light into linearly polarized light. So next immediately in the same plane, so such that their transmission axis should be parallel with each other is going to be arranged. So this will act like analyzer. So analyzer allows whenever the vibrations of the polarized light is in parallel with the transmission axis of the analyzer, such that we will be able to obtain the polarized light at the end of analyzer. Now how we will be able to decide whether it is polarized, whether it is plain polarized or circularly polarized. So if it is plain polarized only, it is going to be transmitted through it. So if we change the, I mean, if we rotate the analyzer such that these vibrations are perpendicular to the direction of transmission axis, this kind of rays are completely blocked by the analyzer. That means it will allow only the vibrations that are parallel to the transmission axis and completely blocks the vibrations that are perpendicular to the transmission axis. So that is how we are going to decide whether the polarized light is linearly polarized or not, with the help of two different, we call prisms called polarizer and analyzer. Next we have wave plates. So these are nothing but retarders. So wave plates are retarders which are helpful for altering the polarization. That means these are going to change linearly polarized light into either circularly polarized light or elliptically polarized light. Similarly, these are able to add some phase difference to the incident polarized light. Okay, so based on how these are going to be done, we have two different types of wavelets. Those are nothing but half wave plate and quarter wave plate. So the use of half wave plate is nothing but it is going to add 90-degree phase shift to the linearly polarized light. Okay, similarly, the usefulness of quarter wave plate is it is going to convert linearly polarized light into circularly polarized light or sometimes elliptically polarized light based on our requirements. So how it is going to do? So here also we need to take the calcite plate and it is cut in such a way that it will introduce a phase difference of delta pi equal to 2 pi by lambda in modulus of mu naught into d minus mu e into d. So here lambda is the wavelength of the incident light and mu naught is the refractive index of ordinary ray and mu e is the refractive index of extraordinary ray and d is the thickness of the plates. So here, based on the construction of this wavelet, the additional phase difference is going to be added to the transmitted wave through it. So here, the thickness of the plate is taken in such a way that, so for half wave plate, it is d equal to lambda by 2 mu naught minus mu e. That means the difference of the refractive indices is being multiplied by the half of the wave. So that is why it is known as half wave plate. In the quarter wave plate, we are going to multiply the difference of refractive indices of ordinary and extraordinary rays by quarter wave. That means lambda by 4. So that is why it is known as quarter wave plate. So whenever the design is like that, they are going to provide us the required polarization. That means half wave plate is going to introduce 90-degree phase shift to the linearly polarized wave. Similarly, quarter wave will be able to convert linearly polarized wave into circularly and elliptically polarized lights. So these wave plates are helpful in optical isolators, okay, where we require uh, the phase differences between different optical rays. Similarly, where we need to convert or alter the polarization of the light waves. So hope you have understood what we have discussed today. Thank you so much.